Howdy y'all, and welcome back to Cup of Cheer as well as KT's Kitchen Corner. Today I wanted to make for you my cranberry sauce recipe that I got online a few years back, and I will try to give the maker credit down below if they still have any web presence out there. But this is cranberry sauce using an Instant Pot with simple ingredients, which are simply cranberries, orange juice, maple syrup, and an apple, and rosemary. That's it. It's very simple to make for the most part. There is one tricky little bit towards the end, which I'll get to later in this video. But pretty much the only stumbling block is making sure that your apple is okay and making sure that your cranberries are okay. You'll want to start with 12 ounces of cranberries. Sometimes you can get a bag that's roughly 12 ounces and just use that. Other times, if your bag's too big, that's fine. Just measure it out on a scale. What you'll want to do to start with is take your cranberries and take a little strainer and clean your cranberries first. While you're doing that, go through and make sure that you don't have cranberries that are too clear or soft and mushy or discolored, because that means they've gone a little bad. And that's okay to have a few that have gone bad, because how cranberries are picked and processed really makes it almost impossible to ensure that all of the cranberries are the same amount of ripeness or not. So you're going to have a few that are past their prime, but that's okay. Just pick them out, you're good. Clean the rest off and put them on the scale, and you should have roughly 12 ounces. I got 13 ounces for today's because that's just what I happened to measure out, and I didn't feel like figuring the exact 12 ounces today. 13 is very close, so I felt okay with that. I would have remeasured had it said about 15 ounces, because that seems like a lot extra. But so you're going to put your 12 to 13 ounces of cranberries in your Instant Pot. Then you're going to take your apple. I go for Red Delicious, but really any apple that is somewhat sweet. Whether you want it more sweet or less sweet depends on your taste. I just find Red Delicious a lot easier to come by, and I know that they're going to be sweet. So I'm going to peel that. I also highly recommend washing it first, because you never know what kind of coating could be on it, including, sadly, pesticides, which got me extremely sick one time. So just maybe don't take a chance. Just wash it first, then peel it. Then you're going to core it. My corer also cuts it. Some might not. Okay, so core and cut. I'm going to cut off a little bit more of that, if I can find my knife. Okay, I guess I'm using a heavy-duty knife. So, fun fact, I really, most of my life, did not understand cranberry sauce. When I say I did not understand cranberry sauce, what I mean is we mostly used the canned cranberry sauce. I have nothing against canned cranberry. I never understood how you were supposed to eat it. It's just a blob of jelly to me, and it didn't really easily get eaten with the food, so I never quite understood how you were supposed to eat it. And if you do, awesome. It just wasn't my thing. And so, whoops, I did not grow up personally eating cranberry sauce, though my family did. They really liked the can. And when I started learning about more of my food allergies, we realized, oh, I can't even handle the food or the ingredients that are in the canned jelly cranberry sauce. So from that point forward, we looked into finding out about maybe some fresh cranberry sauce. You know, the somewhat homemade type that you could get at the store. But I really couldn't stand the texture of those. And some of them were so spicy. I'm not sure what spices were in them, but so I just thought that I didn't like cranberry sauce. And then somehow we stumbled on this recipe. Very simple ingredients, nothing that was really punchy, and it seemed easy to make. So if I didn't like it, at least I didn't do a lot of work for it. This is the core. I don't need that. Okay, there we go. So we tried making it, and I loved it. I found out I actually like cranberries. I just didn't know how to eat them. So if you have someone that has never liked cranberry sauce, I have fed this to a few of those friends of mine, and they like it. If you have friends who like cranberry sauce, even the canned kind, I have fed this to some of those friends, and they've liked this. So it's a good in-between style of cranberry sauce. If you grew up with the original can, or if you grew up with the homemade type with lots of punch, this is a nice in-between style of cranberry sauce. Okay, so I've cut, cored, peeled my apple, and talked your ear off at the same time. Now, I put it all in here. So now I'm going to move this aside carefully and grab my recipe, which should tell me what to do next. From here, I have a half a cup of orange juice. Personally, I prefer to use pulp-free. I don't like pulp. The back of my throat can't handle it very well. So even if it is super sieved out and that whole thing, I can't swallow. Oops, doing the wrong one. It won't matter in the long run because there's only two things we're measuring here. They're going in the exact same recipe, so we're good. So 1/2 cup, meaning a half a cup, not 1 1/2. Make sure that I'm doing the right thing. Yes, a half a cup of orange juice. Put that in there. I know that there's also possibly controversy over whether or not I'm using a dry or wet measuring tool. I have not found that it is a problem for this particular recipe. It's not super precise, and if you get the wrong quantities, you'll be terribly different. No, this is fine. If you have your dry measuring cups lying around, you can use them. If you have your wet measuring cups lying around, use them. It's fine. Nobody's going to judge you. I sure won't. Maple syrup, 3/4 cup. I tend to like to go for the ones that are 100% maple syrup, no extra fun stuff in them. Mostly because I have a lot of allergies, and so does my mom, and so keeping things as simple and whole as possible just really helps us. Okay, and then I add a sprig of rosemary. I like to go for the fresh kind. I leave it fairly whole to begin with. I check for any darker leaves that may have been a little bit gone south. And looking good. This is not precise, so I'm just doing basically 2 longer sprigs, maybe 2 1/2. There we go. This is something you can just relax and enjoy doing. If you do a little bit more of your orange juice or a little bit more of your maple syrup or a little bit less of one of those, if you do a little too much or too little of your rosemary, you can fix some of that later. Just relax, have fun. It's the holidays, people. Enjoy cooking. Because really, if you don't enjoy the process of cooking, you're gonna stress yourself out, and you don't need that at holidays. So here we go. And again, I say holidays because I'm including any holiday at this time of year you can enjoy pretty much cranberry sauce for. So from here, we're gonna set our Instant Pot, put the lid on it, and then I will cut and see you later. So let me start with how to do this. You're going to do the lid on your Instant Pot. It helps to do it the right way. Ta-da! it does help to plug the Instant Pot in. Like I said, have fun, people. Don't take life too seriously right now. This is the end of the year. You've made it this far. Have fun. Okay, so you make sure that your Instant Pot is on. That kind of helps. From here, this is where the instructions get a little bit blurry because the creator of this recipe apparently used an older version of Instant Pot. My dials or settings are not exact to the way that they phrase this. So it says on manual for 3 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I hope you can still see me down here. Hello. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do pressure cook for, I'll say 4 minutes. And there you go. So now you're going to let the pressure increase on your Instant Pot. It will tell you when the time is up. It will release the pressure. If you don't have much time on your hands, you might want to release the pressure yourself. As long as it's had the 3 to 4 minutes to actually do its job and finish, you're good. If you accidentally sat around for too long enjoying your cookies or chatting with family, and you realize that your Instant Pot has been sitting around finished for like an hour and a half, you're also good. Again, this is one of the simplest recipes that I do because you can't make a lot of mistakes with this one. I actually prefer to let it sit for a long time because the next step that we're going to do could be dangerous if you do it too soon. So we don't want it too incredibly hot. So again, have fun. And I will see you in a moment, in your time. In my time, I'll see you in about 15 minutes or so. All right, see you in a moment with the magic of YouTube. Bye. Okay, so with the magic of YouTube, our cranberry sauce is ready to be taken from the Instant Pot, and I don't like chunks. So I am going to have my trusty assistant help me to put the contents from the Instant Pot into a blender and blend it up. Now again, as I said earlier, you want to be careful with how hot this is, so maybe let it rest a little bit, or however you want to do that to cool it down so it's not super steaming, piping hot, because you don't want an explosion. So first things first, open up your Instant Pot after it's finished, and there's a little handle here that my mom has shown me. There's a little nook inside the handle that's your little, I don't know if you can see this. There's a piece that fits into there, and then that holds your lid. And I made the mistake of not doing that earlier and terrifying my poor mother. So I'm now going to use my assistant here to help me pour the contents of the Instant Pot, our cranberry almost sauce, into this blender. Use safety precautions. All right, there you go. Now you could take out the rosemary sprigs at this time because maybe you don't want to have that actually in your cranberry sauce. Personally, I find that the sprigs become so soft that it's not really a problem. So for me, I leave them in there, partially because I forget to take them out, and partially because I don't mind them staying in there. From here, I have a kind of blender where I put the blending part on top. So if I could, I would completely edit out this sound. For your sake, however, because I can't edit out the sound, you might want to choose to lower the volume now. Okay, so I did that for about 10 to 15 seconds, and then I pulsed it a few times partially in between and partially at the end to make sure anything that was stuck at the top can make its way down into the blending area, or vice versa. So now what you're going to do, now one thing about this, because it's really hot, it is good to use a blender that has a bit of a steam release so that you don't have an explosion. So if you're dealing with something super hot, maybe don't use a blender that has the really super seal to it. This has a steam release, so it's a lot safer to use for something like this. All right, I'm going to safely set aside the blade, and I'm going to put this back into our Instant Pot. For anyone wondering why I am doing this, this is to help it turn a little more gelatinous. As you can see right now, it's pretty soupy. But if you put it on the heat for a little bit longer after it has been blended, and then you let it cool for about an hour, maybe more, it's up to you, you'll get a thicker consistency to it without having it chunky. So from here, what you're going to do is saute it in the Instant Pot for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then let it cool for roughly an hour, depending on how thick you want it. So I'm gonna go and do that now. When it is done, you should have a nice, I don't know the right word, but smooth, there we go. Nice, smooth, and slightly gelatinous cranberry sauce that is sweet and a little spicy without being too punchy. I hope that this has been a fun adventure for you, and maybe you are going to enjoy some cranberry sauce for the first time this Christmas, or maybe try a new cranberry. Okay, one last thing, sorry. But for those of you who haven't used an Instant Pot much, or haven't done saute on an Instant Pot before, use saute with the lid still off. That might be really important for you, so I thought I would mention that. If your Instant Pot is still stuck on pressure cook or on keep warm, you just cancel that out, hit saute, put the amount of time you want on it, and it'll just start going. And you do that for about 5 to 10 minutes with the lid off, and then let it set and enjoy in about an hour and a half or longer, depending on your taste. God bless y'all. Thanks for watching. From me and mine to you and yours. Merry Christmas and a cup of good cheer. And Happy New Year!